4 areas in Mindanao are now under signal number 1, ahead of Tropical Depression Crising's forecasted landfall. We'll get the latest on the weather straight from Pag-asa. The government eyes to expand its priority groups for vaccination as more vaccine doses arrive in the country. Just last night, the Philippines received 15,000 more doses of Sputnik V from Russia. Former Senator Antonio Trillanes formally announces his intention to run for president in 2022. However, he says he's willing to step aside if Vice President Leni Robredo will vie for presidency. Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Today is Eid al-Fitr, or the end of the month-long Ramadan. Let's check out how the Muslim community is celebrating the holiday amid the pandemic live. And let's take a look back at some of the highlights of this year's Brit Awards. Focused and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. Kicking off today's newscast with the low-pressure area east of Davao City developing into Tropical Depression Crising. As a result, several areas in Mindanao have been placed under Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 1. These include Surigao del Sur, Davao Oriental, Davao de Oro, and eastern portion of Agusan del Sur. To give us more updates on today's weather, we have Pag-asa's Ariel Rojas joining us live from their weather forecasting center in Quezon City. Ariel, good morning. Could you tell us where TD Crising is currently located?
Good morning, Charles. At 4 a.m. Today, the center of Tropical Depression Crising was located 420 kilometers east of Davao City. It packs winds of up to 45 kilometers per hour near its center and with gusts reaching up to 55 kilometers per hour. Crising is presently moving westward at a speed of 15 kilometers per hour.
Right, Ariel, are you expecting Crising to further intensify into a tropical storm?
At the moment, we are forecasting that Crising might slightly intensify but will remain under tropical depression category prior to its landfall, which is between tonight and early tomorrow morning.
Could you tell us which areas specifically are now being directly affected by TD Crising?
At the moment, the cloud systems of tropical depression Crising are tightly wounded about its center. So we are not seeing any cloud or the outer rain bands of the tropical depression affecting any of the areas in Mindanao. But we are expecting that within this day until tomorrow, moderate to heavy rains will be felt over Surigao del Sur, Agusan del Sur, and some of the Davao provinces, Davao Oriental, Davao de Oro, and Davao del Norte. So the residents in these areas are alerted against possible flooding, including flash floods and rain-induced landslides.
Right. Ariel, given the current trajectory of Crising, is the tropical depression still expected to make landfall? And if so, where and when will this happen?
Yes, the tropical depression is expected to make its landfall between the boundaries of Davao Oriental and Surigao del Sur between tonight and tomorrow early morning. After then, it will traverse the central part of Mindanao, and the tropical depression may emerge over the Sulu Sea on Saturday morning, then crossing the Sulu Sea, and then it may weaken eventually before it makes its crossing over Palawan on Sunday.
Now, we are looking at pictures of Crising here. Are there any gale warnings that are currently up due to TD Crising?
There are none at the moment, but we are expecting moderate to rough sea conditions over the eastern seaboards of Mindanao.
Right, so it's going to be rainy in Mindanao. How's the weather going to be like in other parts of the country?
Yes, as you have mentioned, those areas under Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 1 will be experiencing moderate to heavy rains in the next 24 to 36 hours. The other parts of Mindanao will also be experiencing scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. But for the rest of the country, including Metro Manila, that's Visayas and Luzon, we will be mostly experiencing warm and humid weather conditions. And in some areas, there will be still some isolated thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon and in the evening.
All right, thanks for that, Ariel. We look forward to more updates from you guys over there at Pag-asa. Thank you again. That was Pag-asa weather forecaster Ariel Rojas. In other news, more Sputnik V vaccines have arrived in the country last night. 15,000 doses of the coronavirus vaccine made by the Gamaleya Institute arrived past 9 p.m. straight from Russia. According to studies, Sputnik V vaccines have a 91.6% efficacy for symptomatic cases, while it is also 100% effective for moderate and severe cases. However, storing these vaccines proved to be a challenge because these need to be kept at a temperature of negative 18 degrees Celsius to preserve its effectiveness.
Yan lang, basically, yan na magiging second dose. Nung unang dumating, nung May 1 na component 1. Sa 5 city na binigay namin na 53,000, sa Makati, Muntinlupa, Manila, Taguig, and Parañaque.
Meanwhile, the government is planning to expand the vaccine priority groups in June. That's on the back of the recent increase in COVID-19 vaccine supplies. As of now, there are 7.7 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines in the country, while only 2.5 million Filipinos have been inoculated, and only 500,000 of them have completed their doses.
Yan ang gagawin bandang late May, early June. Yan ang presentation ni Secretary Galvez sa President na ang ilalawakan na yung coverage, pati A4 isasama na natin para bumilis yung efficiency ng pagbabakuna. Madami na kasing good news Yung good news, padagsa na yung dating ng bakuna, di ba? Number 2, yung good news, pababa yung kaso, number of cases. Number 3 na good news, merong report yung isang news na sa Indonesia, yung Sinovac na ginagamit nating mas marami tayo, is very effective in the population. Talagang in the real world, nag-work siya.
The Makati City government is urging high-priority residents of Makati to register for vaccination. While other LGUs are grappling with vaccine shortage, Mayor Abby Binay says Makati currently has a surplus of shots. Greg Gregorio with the report.
Julie Ann, a housekeeper at the Makati Medical Center, is the envy of her colleague. She's one of Makati City's recipients 5,800 doses of Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine. This should cover full vaccination of 2,900 recipients.
Maraming nainggit kasi ako daw Pfizer daw ako. Sabi ko okay lang yun, pare-pares ng vaccine eh.
The LGU has already inoculated 55,000 residents, but 44,000 of those are first doses. The city has a surplus of vaccines for a still limited number of registrants.
So hindi yun namin bubuksan yung vial hanggang sa hindi nabubuo yung yung grupo ng babakunahan. Papapagalitan kami ng DOH kapag mataas yung aming wastage at baka hindi na kami bigyan ng bakuna.
Speaking at Kapihan sa Manila Bay, Mayor Abby Binay has urged more high-priority residents to get vaccinated.
People are not coming in. It's just that I don't have enough registrants. Ang problema lang naman kasi is pag pumupunta yung senior or yung babakunahan, namimili sila ng bakuna.
But if Makati has excess vaccines, Manila is facing a different problem, shortage.
Hindi po mabagal, super bagal. Yung deployment. Kasi lahat ng local government ready naman mag-deploy kasi ginagawa na natin yan Hindi ko alam kung pinatutubuan pa nila sa kanilang refrigerator itong mga bakunang ito. That I don't know. There must be somebody who's going to be liable.
According to Mayor Isko Moreno, they have yet to receive new doses of Sinovac vaccines after the last batch of 8,400 shots in April. It was only Tuesday night when more than 7,000 doses of Pfizer were sent to the city.
Nung makailan lamang, may dumating na 1.5 million na Sinovac na naman. Hanggang ngayon po wala pa po tayo share doon.
But the health department insists there is a system to be followed.
We cannot give everybody at the same time. About 50 to 70% ang nakalaan sa NCR+, pero kailangan din natin bigyan yung ibang region.
Kabotahe also notes that there are still many members of the A1 to A3 clusters that have yet to receive their COVID-19 vaccine. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV has formally announced plans to run for president in next year's elections. Trillanes revealed that Vice President Leni Robredo is gearing up to run as governor of Camarines Sur, which is why he has decided to request the opposition coalition, One Sambayan, to change his status from being Robredo's alternate to its principal candidate for presidency. But Robredo's camp refuted these statements, denying that she's preparing to run for governor. In fact, Robredo's legal team says she's still very much in the running for the presidency. Trillanes had earlier said that his bid for the presidency is not meant to divide the opposition. After all, Trillanes added he would gladly step aside in case Robredo decides to run for president before One Sambayan picks its nominees. The coalition has until July to finalize its roster. It's the second straight year of muted Eid al-Fitr celebrations in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. To tell us how Muslims observe the religious holiday in light of the prohibition on mass gatherings, we have Justine Ponsalang. She's reporting live from the Golden Mosque in Quiapo, Manila. Justine, good morning. Could you tell us the situation over there?
Charles, this year's celebration of Eid al-Fitr of our Muslim brothers and sisters is uneventful as compared to the previous years. While they used to share a feast after the prayer at the Quirino Grandstand, our Muslim brothers and sisters will just be going homes to celebrate Eid al-Fitr for the second year. As early as 4:30 this morning, people started arriving at the Golden Mosque here in Quiapo, Manila. Before going directly to the mosque, they first took time to have their photos taken at the newly lit Muslim Arch at Tobo de Oro Street. Despite kids not yet being allowed to leave their homes according to the IATF guidelines, parents brought their children at the mosque. Some of them were not even wearing face masks. The management of the Golden Mosque attempted to remind their fellow Muslims about the basic health protocols, but the crowd was too much that the authorities stepped in to assist. According to the Manila Police District, they had an arrangement with the administrator of the Golden Mosque that the police will just be a support force and that the administration will primarily be the ones to implement the health protocols. 2 teams of heavily armed SWAT arrived, and the elements of Barbosa Police Station also aided during the 30-minute prayer of our Muslim brothers and sisters. After which, the religious observers all returned home, where they will be privately celebrating Eid al-Fitr. We spoke to some Muslims, and according to them, they could not help but be sad because for the second year, they were not able to fully celebrate Eid al-Fitr because of the pandemic, which is why among their prayers, they are asking Allah to get rid of the COVID-19 pandemic so that we can all return to our normal lives. A devotee or a Muslim, Fai Abbas, on the other hand, will be celebrating Eid al-Fitr virtually with his family who are in Mindanao. Charles, we spoke to a resident of Marawi City, and according to her, residents were not allowed to celebrate Eid al-Fitr inside the mosques in Marawi because of the pandemic. Instead, they were encouraged to pray in open areas. However, due to the limited open area spaces in Marawi City, most families decided to just pray at home. Problem is, what made things worse is that 4:30 in the morning, the Marawi residents experienced power outage. Charles?
Thanks for that update. That was Justine Ponsalang reporting live from Manila. The star-studded Brit Awards became extra memorable this year as artists brought major issues on stage as they received their awards. MJ Marfori with the details.
This year's Brit Awards in one word, woke. Dua Lipa, who won big with the solo female artist and album of the year, called on Prime Minister Boris Johnson to give medical frontliners a raise.
Because it's very good to clap for them, but we need to pay them.
Little Mix made history as the first all-female band to win Best British Group.
We've seen the white male dominance, misogyny, sexism, and lack of diversity.
Taylor Swift, meanwhile, took home the Global Icon title. The award had also been conferred on Elton John and David Bowie. Taylor reminded fans that world may be cruel at times.
But just please remember that you have the right to prove them wrong.
Other big winners include Billie Eilish, The Weeknd, and Harry Styles. The Brits 2021 has an audience of 4,000, 2,500 of whom are health workers. Attendees weren't socially distanced or in masks, but they must be negative. The event was part of a COVID research on resuming public gatherings in the new normal. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.